Welcome back to my Realtor Tip series, and today we're going to talk about the home disclosure statement. Here in North Carolina, we sometimes affectionately call it RPOD, which is the Residential Property Owner's Disclosure Statement. Essentially, it's the homeowner's chance to tell you, the buyer, what they know to be wrong with the house. And there are a whole list of questions, from everything from the foundation and the structural items to the HOA, so that a home buyer will have as much information as possible. Now, with each item, the seller can check yes, which means I know of a problem that has not been corrected. No means I don't know of any problem with this item that has not been corrected. Or no representation, which means I ain't telling. Now, sometimes people check no representation because they're investors and they've never been in and around the house and they have no way to know. Sometimes they're lawyers, and lawyers do not like to tell you anything they might be held responsible for. And sometimes it's people who are maybe not telling the truth, and we don't really have any way of knowing, because as your realtor, when we're working with the buyer, we don't know the seller. And if I'm working with the seller, I don't know everything they know about the house. So the disclosure statement should always be taken with a grain of salt. And that's why your realtor is always going to say, verify, double check, go get an inspector. I think it was President Reagan that said trust but verify, and that's pretty much what the disclosure statement means. Now, let me tell y'all a little cautionary tale about disclosure statements, because if the seller lies, the only way you have recourse as the home buyer is to prove that they knew and were knowingly lying, and that's just hard in today's world. I sold a house several years ago down in the Myers Park area of Charlotte. Now, these are she-she-swanky houses. It's always been a very good area in which to buy. And my folks bought this house, and it was in the middle of a nasty drought. And we had been dry for weeks on weeks. Did a home inspection, nothing came up. The home seller checked on the disclosure. There'd never been any moisture in the basement that he knew of, nothing at all to report. So they bought the house and happily moved in. A few weeks after closing, the drought ended. So when the drought ended, you know, the rains came down. And when I mean it rained, I mean it poured. Gully washer, wide open rain. And when the ground is real dry, y'all, the rainwater can go running straight off or straight under. So they suddenly had a basement full of water. And they're down there with pails trying to get the water out, just thinking, what in the world have we got going on here? And the very helpful neighbor walked over and said, oh my, that's still going on? I thought for sure that Mr. X had taken care of that. And my buyers looked up and said, wait, what? And the neighbor said, yes, he's had water in that basement for years, and we thought for sure he'd taken care of it. And my buyers said, well, do you mind putting that in writing so that we will have some kind of third-party witness that he hid this from us? And the neighbor said, absolutely I will, because you're my neighbors now. And so my clients, with the help of an attorney and this neighbor's witness testimony in writing, went back to the home seller, and he did have to pay for the repairs to that house because he did know, and he hid it and thought that the drought would let him get away with it. So the moral of the story is trust but verify, get your home inspector involved, and then most importantly, be nice to the neighbors, because they might be the key to you getting something fixed. And if you're a home seller, don't hide things. If you know about it, tell about it, because most people can deal with things they know about. It's the hidden secrets that cause lots of trouble. Make sure that you watch the crawl space video if you want to know why I'm talking about crawl spaces and water in basements, because everything adds up in real estate.